everyone, I'm Lydia from Novelty, and today we're talking about one of my favorite genres, which is biblical fiction. I have so much fun reading biblical fiction because it helps make the biblical time period and the world that they lived in back then, as in the part of the world they lived in, everything like that comes so much more alive to me. And then when I read the Bible or when I listen to sermons, etc., it my imagination is like, yes, I can see this because I've seen it described through a book, which is so cool. I love it when people do the research so that they can write good, accurate historical fiction / biblical fiction. One thing about it though is I will say one of the big qualifications for me is that they stay true to the biblical account. I don't care what else they add to the story because it is fiction, just as long as they keep characters, as in real people characters, and the setting and the actual accounts from the Bible, as long as they keep those accurate, then anything else they can change, and I have so much fun with it. I have a couple of my favorite books down here, and a real quick disclaimer, there are things in most of these books that I do not agree with, generally along the lines of a romance I don't like, or this or that, but overall the books are amazing and have helped me just picture the world from Bible times so much better, and it's made my whole experience with reading the Bible, etc., be so much more vibrant because I can really feel like I'm there, and that is a big thing for me as a reader and as somebody who learns through words. So let's get going. There's a whole bunch of authors that I've read, a book here, a book there, got to out of the library, got to an ebook, etc., etc., but there's only 2 historical or biblical fiction authors that I've read over and over again and continually like their books. And they are Connie Lynn Cosette and then Tessa, and I'm not quite sure how to say her last name. These writers are both fantastic with weaving biblical accounts into stories that make me get lost in the book and not want to come back out, and make me want more and more and more and relate to the characters. And they are highly skilled at just making the world come it's like fireworks in the brain when you read it. It's so cool, and they're really, really, really well researched books also, which is a huge thing for me. This book right here, or this series right here, is the Out from Egypt series, and it starts out with Counted with the Stars. Plus, I think the covers are so gorgeous. So this is about an Egyptian girl who was sold into slavery by her own father, I think. Yes, and so obviously that would be a really hard life to have. And I don't think this is nope, it's not a spoiler alert. It says it. So she ends up choosing, she has some Hebrew friends, and when they escape, or not escape, I guess that's the word to use, when Moses leads them out of Egypt, she goes along with them. So it's her story as she is traveling through the wilderness and escaping, and it goes through the plagues and that type of thing. And then the next book in the series is Shadow of the Storm. And I'm trying to remember, yes, this one, I was like, oh my goodness, it had a plot twist I really did not appreciate romance-wise. But other than that, this one, it's the same. I think it's a friend from here, her Egyptian friend. It's her story, or her Hebrew friend, it's her story. And so she becomes a midwife, and there's all these things in here that when I read them, I was like, wait a second, did that really happen in the Bible? And so I'd go back and read the Bible, and I'm like, I forgot this happened, or kind of my brain was like, you grew up with this, so it just skimmed over it. But when they talked about it in here in detail, I'd go back and actually reread those chapters really specifically, and there was a lot of stuff that went on during the Exodus that I did not realize happened, and it was a little bit crazy, aka really super duper crazy. And the third book in the series is Wings of the Wind, and it is about a motherless girl who's raised alongside her brothers. She's a Canaanite and ends up going into battle dressed as a guy, and one of the Hebrews goes to kill her and then realizes she's a girl, so he does not kill her. And so yeah, it's really, really super interesting. And then finding out how she's related to a biblical character that is very well known, I'm like, oh my goodness, I did not see that coming. So that was a big plot twist there. So this whole series right here, guys, yes, I really, really enjoy it. I got all 3 of these books in exchange for a review, but I would totally buy them because they were really great. And then this is the first book in the next series, which actually has a character from this book, and it's really neat. It is the Cities of Refuge series. And I've talked about this book before, A Light on the Hill, because it had this huge plot twist that I, like, it's probably one of the most stunning plot twists I've ever had, because I did not, like, put two and two together when I asked to request this book, so I didn't know anything that was going to happen, and it was kind of crazy. But really cool. If you, like, read the back, then it wouldn't be a big plot twist, so I don't know if plot twist is the right word, but I didn't read the back. I didn't read anything about it, so when something happened that's alluded to on the back cover, etc., but I did not know that was going to happen because I hadn't read anything, so I was like, oh my goodness, this just happened, and I was not expecting it, and I had to reread it a couple times just to see if it really did happen, and then I had to go find some people who I knew wouldn't be reading the book so I could spoil it for them and be like, oh my goodness, this just happened in this book, and I don't know how to comprehend it, what am I going to do? And I kind of, like, freaked out over this book a lot, and I want to reread it now. And then for Tessa's books, she has Bread of Angels, and this is about Lydia. So I actually didn't like this book a huge amount because it takes place over a really long period of time, like 40 years or something, I don't know, but I'm not really a huge fan of those types of books, but I still liked it because my name's Lydia, so it was fun reading about a Lydia, who I was named after actually, and seeing how she, like, imagined this Lydia's life. And then the other book I have is In the Field of Grace, which is about Ruth and Boaz. And again, this book was like, oh, I was not expecting this because we don't know a lot about Boaz's life. So what the author did is she took, like, various things from that time period and was like, this is probably what his life was like, and added to it, and it made a lot of sense. It made me want to like think about the people in the Bible more, because they were legit people who had real lives, who had tons of stuff going on that we don't know about, which is pretty cool when you think about it. And then she has some other books that I've listened to on audio, and I really like them. I feel like she has really good stuff spiritually, maybe not everything, I don't agree with everything, but she has really good insights, and I've learned a lot from her, and it's helped me actually through some pretty hard times, not necessarily this book, but just her books in general. So that is what I have to say about the beautiful genre of biblical fiction. I would be delighted to hear your thoughts. Do you like biblical fiction? If so, who are some of your favorite authors?